interlobular connective tissue. So again, the main background, all over here, that's the interlobular connective tissue. All of this stuff. Okay. This is a lactiferous duct. Circle of cells, or a complete round of cells, lactiferous duct. Now this whole area right here, this whole thing, this whole thing, this whole thing, those are lobules. Inside each lobule are smaller glandular alveoli. All these little structures inside, glandular alveoli. What's the big area? Lobule. What's that thing? Lactiferous duct. All this? Interlobular connective tissue. And then our adipose, kind of here and here and here. So we can see. I saw some right at the edge. It was a huge amount. There. Let's see if we can find some better. Look at all those lactiferous ducts. Yeah, all that's adipose. Like that. Notice how much, again, interlobular connective tissue there is. There's a lot. All over. So again, lactiferous duct, lobule, each one of these glandular alveoli. Now we are going to make it a little bit easier so that you don't get confused on some of this. You don't kind of double ask. So outside the lobule is where we're going to ask for lactiferous duct. Okay, we're not going to ask it inside because you're going to get confused with the, what other structure? What would be inside the lobule that you might get confused with? Glandular alveoli. So we're going to ask for the lactiferous duct outside of the lobule. Yes. So you should be able to tell that this is not the prostate, because what are we missing? What would be in the prostate to give it away? The concretions. There are no concretions in here. I know you're saying this either. This does not look like the prostate, but just wait. All right, so that's our non-lactating or resting mammary gland. And here is our lactating. Find a good lactiferous duct. All right, so this is, let's see, it's not very like slide. Okay, so here in the middle, this thing right here would be our lactiferous duct. This whole thing up here would be a lobule. Each of the little things inside would be glandular alveoli. In between, so this stuff here, running up this way, running around this way, and around, would be the interlobular connective tissue. So notice how there's not much that you see, because the lobules are now larger because the glandular alveoli have what in them? Milk. So it's making everything kind of swell out, and so you're pushing all those lobules together, and that interlobular connective tissue decreases. And then the adipose, again, generally you'll see it on the very edges, if at all, because it too is going to be smushed out a little bit here. So there's some adipose there. A different one here. That's a better one. looking for was a lactiferous duct that was kind of all by itself, right? That's what we said we'd ask it. So lactiferous duct here, the area is the lobule, all of that. Individual things, glandular alveoli. Here's some adipose. And then all of this in here, that interlobular connective tissue. And what's also going to help you figure out if it's the resting or lactating is that inside the glandular alveoli, again, you should see something inside those. In terms of the milk in there. So can you tell the difference between the two? So we have our lactiferous duct. Just that. Glandular alveoli, the whole area. Lobule. This stuff. Interlobular connective tissue. And this. Adipose. This is the resting, non-lactating, inactive mammary gland. Multiple names. Okay. So that is all, well, all the just female parts. Placental and umbilical cord. So on the testis slide, that's your spermatogenesis slide you're looking for. And again, it's going to have three things that you'll need to know in this one. The first one, that tunica albuginea, that's that outer boundary. And so kind of loops up and around on this one. But it's this outer boundary here, which is the tunica albuginea. So encases all of this together. Each one of these circles, seminiferous tubules. And then in between the circles, there are cells. Interstitial cells related. All of them. So this slide is totally unique. Looks like no other. Should not get it confused with anything else. And so again, what the hint page said was that there were spermatozoa. So these are all spermatozoa that are in different developmental stages inside the seminiferous tubules. So again, the whole circle is a seminiferous tubule. What's in between these cells, interstitial cells related. So if it's pointed in between, that's what you choose. If it's pointed on one of these, you choose seminiferous tubules. If it's pointed toward the outside boundary, you choose the tunica albuginea. And this whole thing is the testis. On the spermatochord slide, if you kind of hold it up to the light, you're looking for the thing that looks like the donut. It's the circle. There it is. So that's the vas deferens. So it has to have some muscle in there because, again, it has to work with that peristalsis to move the sperm from the testes up and around. So really just 3 parts, but 1 repeats. Or 3, yeah. 3 and then there's a repeater. So this layer right here that's lining the lumen, that's the PSCCE. So that ciliated, that pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium helps to move the sperm along. And then we have 3 layers of muscle. And so on this, if you look at your labeling, it has longitudinal muscle is inner and outer, and the circular muscle is the middle layer. So this one right up close to the PSCCE, that's going to be which one? Longitudinal. This is going to be circular. And all this out here is going to be longitudinal. I use longitudinal. You have to put an outer and inner. Just longitudinal, circular, and the PSCCE. And that is what again? The vas deferens. Vas deferens.
vas deferens have grainy things inside?
Yes, because that would be like sperm.
Okay.
All right, so on this one, a little different looking. Kind of all the inside is inside of the lumen's a little trickier there. All folded in on itself. All right, so again, we have the PSECE, all up in here. We have our longitudinal, you can see it right there, circular, and then our longitudinal out here. So it kind of looks kind of harder to tell on this one, on our longitudinal and our circular and our other longitudinal. So we'll make sure to pick one that's a nice clear one. I mean, there's no point in making this super. Ooh, that one's a good one. You see the different layers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we have our PSECE here. Longitudinal is going to go from here to about there. Circular from there to about there. And then longitudinal. Let me go on the lower power. So if you see this, again, don't choose like an artery or something. It's not an artery. And really, on the artery, you're not going to have a distinct cellular layer lining the lumen. So PSECE, longitudinal, circular, longitudinal, vasta. Okay. So now we're on to the last two, that placenta and the umbilical cord. So on the handout there are some initials that are listed on there, and the initials are explained in the figure reading. So the IS, that's the intervillous spaces, you need to know that one. You need to know the chorionic villus, which are essentially the blobs that are there. And then the fetal blood vessels, if they're pointing to a circle within the blob, that's a fetal blood vessel. And then on the other page, the umbilical cord, remember how we mentioned there were 2 arteries and a vein? So there's 2 arteries here and then 1 vein. And then there's Wharton's jelly and the amniotic epithelium. So I know there's 2 letters of A's, but that's what they put in there and that's what they labeled themselves. But we'll start with the placenta first. And I'm going to show you a few of these because these are all looking different here. All right, so this looks more like what I gave to you on the handout in terms of blobbiness. So again, each one of these would be the chorionic villus. If it was pointing to a circle inside any one of these, that would be a fetal blood vessel. And then anything outside those, that's the intervillous space. And it did say on the hint page that if you saw little dots, those are just the red blood cells that are there, so just ignore them. You don't have to know that that's what they are, but you can just ignore those. So chorionic villi, interstitial spaces, and the fetal blood vessels. And again, there's different ones here. Yeah, this one's, I think this one's like what you guys have. Is this right? It's more like yours. All right, so even though we have these, we'll guess some of the ones. All right, so if I put it on that integral spaces, any one of these things, choroid villi, and then any one of the circles inside them, okay, fetal blood vessels. Any one of those. And again, this one doesn't look like anything we've done either, so that's a good thing. So again, there's like even the bigger ones, so fetal blood vessels, choroid villus, and then the integral spaces. All right, for the umbilical cord, I'm going to go through it. Again, I cannot show you everything all at once. But if you look at your slide up in the light, you should see 2 circles that look alike and 1 circle that looks gigantic. The ones that look alike are the arteries. The gigantic one is the vein. All right, so there's one of the 3. There's another one of the 3. And there's another one. So the idea is, which doesn't look like the others?
I'm going to go with the big
So we're going to go with this middle one that doesn't look like the others. So that would be your umbilical vein. And then these 2 are the umbilical arteries. That one and that one. Now everything else that's in there is called Wharton's jelly. It's this kind of fibrous material in here. Wharton's jelly. And then holding it all together on the outside is the amniotic epithelium. And the whole thing is the umbilical cord.
All these circles look pretty similar to me
Oh yeah?
in my slide.
Should be 2 that look the same, and then it looks different. Okay, this comes out of y'all's boxes. There's those. And there's that one. That one looks different. It looks more fibrous, like spread apart, fluffier.
Yeah.
Fluffier than those 2.
Yeah.
And the lumens aren't very clear in the arteries, whereas in the vein you can see a fairly good lumen.
That's not a vein though, right?
That's the umbilical
Yeah,
vein.
yeah.
Umbilical
Okay,
vein.
okay.
Umbilical vein and the umbilical arteries. And then the Wharton's jelly over here. And that amniotic epithelium off the side.
What? She has like 2 more shots.
All right, here's our last one of the umbilical cord. This one's fairly light. Extremely light. There's our giant different one right there. This is huge.
That one?
That, that thing. That thing is a umbilical vein. This is not the best looking one. And then the arteries are down here. That one and that one. And then that epithelium here and over here. And the orange jelly. So let me move it down. My screen looks bigger than yours. There's the two arteries. This one and that one. And that vein was this giant vein. Here's the outline of it right here. Huge. All right, what is it? What organ is it?
Resting.
Resting mammary gland?
Prostate.
The prostate gland. Prostate. See what I'm saying? Secretions.
You said it.
Just see. That's the prostate. See, I'm not crazy. Sorry,
I didn't get that.
Concretions.
Are those the testes? Okay.
This is a different slide
Yeah.
than that what I use.
But it's still pretty
Pretty
That one
circular.
kind of looks like a, line.
Let me see if I can get a Julie cam here. Oh, here it is.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So that this is the testes. So that tunica albuginea at the very top, that layer up there. Each circle is the seminiferous tubules. And in between, it's kind of smushed in there, but in between those circles, interstitial cells is Leydig. And some of these you can't hardly see it.
So what the top is
So what is it?
the top
Tunica albuginea.
Okay. Tunica albuginea.
That layer up there.
It's pretty big.
That's pretty good.